What's up, everyone? It's Wilson. Today, massive green day for me. Still not the end of the day yet. I'm still in a couple swings, but I made some good momentum plays today, and I want to go over how I decided what my entry point was, what was I looking at, and how I made over currently a little bit over 1,500 just for today. So it's a pretty solid day for me, and I want to start off with this hot stock right here, IMMY. This was actually a call out by my friend Ferris, so shout out to him for calling this out. He started calling out in the very beginning when all this momentum was spiking up. I think he was actually calling out when it was around I would say 183-ish or even a little bit lower, 170-ish. I was watching it, but in the early days, as you can tell, there was this massive spike, and I get really worried when I see this, especially on a stock that I don't know anything about. I've never traded the stock before in the past. I don't know anything about the company. I don't know about any news about it. So when there's that much momentum, it can get very scary because there could be massive short and it'll drop right back down. So if you buy at its peak, then you could be out of luck. Apparently, even when I started watching it at around the $2, it was nowhere near the peak. It went all the way up pretty high, and then now it's still trading for the rest of the day at about mid-range. But this is something that I would not get into position on when it's going up massively like this within like 10 minutes of massive volume. There's a lot of buying volume, as you can tell from the bottom right here. So I was watching it. I waited for the dip. Now, of course, I could have bought him at the dip, and that's usually what I like to do, buying on pullbacks. But I don't like trading so early when there's that much volume and so much volatility of just the price going up and down. So I waited and I want to see out the patterns. Was it going to go trend lower like how it is doing right now? Or was it going to continue to go up and consolidate? And I was basically, what I look for is I look for a bullish flag. I want to get the next breakout, and I want to just get a quick 20-30 cent profit. So what I did was I was watching it. I see this pullback. I didn't buy in, and then it goes all the way up to highs. I would never buy here again. It's the peak. But as you can tell, this pullback. Now, what I was really looking at this point is the onward momentum with the stock, the volume. Remember, I always talk about volume in my other videos as well. I always look for consistent buying volume, a lot of strong buying volume, as you can see, a lot of green bars, and very low selling volume. So right when it pulled down all the way this and then consolidated and it pulled down again, and I look at the volume, I see these red bars aren't really strong red bars, and then I see a green bar kick in. Now, it's not trading at its highest, and it looks like a bullish flag forming to me. I love these type of consolidations forming into a bullish flag because it leads to this A, B, C, D type of pattern that will push for a D breakout, right? So I did decide to get in around 220-ish, and then I was watching the level 2 really closely, watching all the tape recordings and all the orders that were flooding in. A lot of strong buying volume, a lot of strong buyers, and it pushed the stock all the way up to pretty high. But I got out around high 260s, so I was able to take a good $950 gain on that, and that was a pretty happy play by me because I rode the trend upwards by identifying the volume as well as the level 2. I always keep a close eye on the level 2 to see how many buyers are kicking in. And if there's sellers or more sellers, then I know the price is going to drop. And I like to see heavy green buying. So that was my play for IMMY. Good call out by my friend Ferris in the private chat channel. And much props to him. Now my next play right here is RGSE. Now this is a stock I played many times before. I watch it all the time. And there was news today, and I have this on my watch list all the time. Pre-market, they said the revenue was doing good. I scanned the news. I read the full articles on multiple websites. Revenue is looking strong. So what does this mean to me? It means that this is actually a pretty decent stock, and it has pumped up and down before, but is relatively stable. So worst case scenario, it could be a swing stock. But of course, we don't want to try and play that. For this one, what happened was that I wanted to see how it was going to open. And as I predicted, it was going to have a massive sell-off. And then it was going to consolidate, go up and down. And I love these type of patterns. Remember, A, B, C, D, and all these U cups. I love it. And then what I did was I got in position. I would say quite early at 241. And I peaked out right here at the top before it actually hit the top. at around 257. And that got me about $400 game. But what I was really noticing was that you see this massive sell-off in the beginning, and then it goes up and it goes back down. Now that identifies a new support for the opening day, right? Because it's going to be new. And as soon as you see these green candles pushing it back up, that's a sign of a breakout. And that's what I like to play. So I didn't get in at the very low because you don't know how it's going to keep going, right? It could go up a little bit, like 2 cents, and then drop again. But this is a rather stable stock. So the fluctuation between the prices aren't that massive like some of the other momentum stocks. And for this one, I saw that it was going up, 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 up. So I got in on the second green candle on this upward trend, and I rode it all the way up until it pretty much hit 257. So that was a pretty good play in this earlier round here. I was thinking about buying back in a couple hours later at a lower point. As you can tell, it's still pushing upwards because the news is actually really rather decent if you actually look at it and how their company is increasing revenue and everything. But I was playing another stock later on in the day, so I was able to get in right here and then exit before it hit the peak, before this drop happened again. I could have got, like I said, I could have got in and retraced at the retrace point at the dip and kept pushing it, but that was how I played this one, and it was a pretty good quick scalp, I would say. Now the next one, I did fairly well today on you guys. This is a stock I play a lot. I know how it performs very clearly. If you look back at the history, you can tell that it drops down, it goes up. The trend repeats itself. This is a leveraged ETF. This is the same as like JNUG. You see, these are all these trends. What goes up must come down. DGAS, another good example. What goes up must come down, right? So for you guys specifically, if we look at today, this is dead bottom low. Very rarely do you see in the history that it goes like this and is bound to come back up. So when my friend told me that you guys dropped down to 960, I was watching it. And once I saw that it was coming a little bit, like it looked like it was hitting its lows, what I did was I got in position at 955, and I just know that the stock will go back up. For me, I do both swing trade and momentum trades. So for this specific situation, if let's say it rolled all the way up to here and I didn't sell, and it continued to just ride it out and go back downwards, I can swing trade this onto the next day. And that would still be okay for me because I know that 955 is such a good entry point for how the stock performs historically. So I know this company really well. Whereas with IMMY, the play I played today, why I was more cautious is because I don't know that stock at all. But I did recognize the patterns, and I was watching level 2, watching the tape recordings and the live sales, and I was able to determine my entry and exit position because I was getting questions from people who's watching my videos about how to identify my entry. And for this one, I know it so well that when it drops below this, I swing it. I always like playing the game. But the momentum kicked in actually fairly quickly, especially with the slight breakout right here. And I decided to take my profits at 10:07. So it was a pretty good run for me. I didn't get in with a really big position size. It was 800 shares, but every little thing adds up in that day, and it net me over 1,500 in earnings today. Apparently, it's still going higher right now. So if you were to ask me, do I wish I stayed in because I got out at 10:07 instead of right now at 10:22? No, because if another person stuck in and they take their profits, good for them. But I have my discipline. I have the strategy that I follow, and I like to stick with what I am. Profit is profit for me. And every day I just have my daily goals to stay green, do well, and profit. So it wouldn't really matter to me if it went to 11 today. But at the same time, if I didn't exit with all this consolidation and upward downward trends, it could have also dropped back down to the support, right? And we don't want to do that. At least that's not in my type of risk management. So that's how I played today. I'm still in a couple of swing positions that I'm still looking to hold on, possibly swing to tomorrow or exit by today. I'm in profit zone, but not ideally what I set my goal to be. But those were my plays. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more updates.